Hey everybody, and welcome to my knot shop. Since I just did a neck carving video yesterday or the other day on the giveaway guitar, I thought I might give you a few pointers for those of you that are just starting out on how to carve necks, or at least how I carve them anyways. There's a million ways to skin a cat, as you'll find out when you get into this. But let's start with 6 tips to get you started in carving your necks. First of all, when you go out and buy that nice expensive piece of mahogany or whatever you're going to use for your neck, don't start carving on that right away. Practice first. Get yourself a 2x4, 2x6, cut it up, and just start practicing your carving techniques on that. It's a lot cheaper, first of all. Second of all, it's a softer wood, so you'll get a better feel for how your tools will work. And it's just a good idea to have a better idea what you're doing when you're diving into this blind. If you're here in my shop, I could help you and give you pointers, but if you're out there on your own, definitely make a blank and practice. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2. Necks are tapered. Blanks, usually when we make them, are straight. So if you're going to cut a truss rod slot, cut it before you cut the taper on the neck. And I've made this mistake many times myself. I get in a hurry, go ahead and cut my neck out into a template, into the rough size. I put the template on here and I taper it and cut out my headstock, and then I go, oh, I didn't have a slot down here. Well, I'm going to show you how to fix that too. But the best way to do it is to actually cut this slot before you ever even taper your sides. So that's tip number 2. Number 3, you want to have some good tools. Not necessarily expensive tools, but good tools. There's some rasps that I use that I got from Stuart McDonald. They're the diamond rasps. Those, in my opinion, are probably one of the better ones out there for guitar neck carving because wood densities vary. For example, anytime you put a stripe in a neck, like the one we're doing with the giveaway guitar has walnut and maple, and then walnut and maple, and so on. Each of those pieces of wood may be a different density or a different hardness of wood. So on a cheap rasp, what happens is it'll cut really nice on the soft stuff, but as soon as it hits that hard stuff, it's like it's skating over top of a rock and it doesn't want to cut evenly. These rasps that I use from Stuart McDonald, it doesn't matter if it's hardwood, softwood, ebony, or bloodwood, any of these really dense woods. If you have a soft wood right beside it, and then you put a stripe of bloodwood in there, it cuts that just the same. It's amazing the difference a good rasp will make as it cuts through that stuff. So get good tools. The number, that would have been number next. You want to use templates to speed up your work, and not only to speed it up, but to create a consistency from one guitar to the next. So if you make your own headstock shape and you want to be able to duplicate it on the next guitar, the best way to do that is to have a template. So use templates. Number whichever is, let me see, do I want to do this one first or that one first? They kind of go hand in hand. Okay, use the 3-angle carving method when you're working on the barrel of your neck. And the 3-angle carving method is pretty simple. This is angle number 1. So you're going to set your height first. And how you set your height is you'll measure here at the first fret and you'll say, okay, I want my height to be 700 thou. And that's not a correct number, by the way. That's an oversized number. Anyways, let's say you want it to be 700 thou here. So what you do is you take your rasp and you go across here and you create a channel, 700 thou, that height. Then at the, say, the 12th or the 14th fret, wherever it meets the body, you need to come up a little bit so you can get away from your heel. So come up a couple of frets and go measure a guitar and see how thick it is at that point. Let's say if we're doing 700 here, we're going to make it 800 here. So once again, you take your file or your rasp and you bring that down to a height of 800. So if you have 700 here and 800 here, halfway in between is probably going to be 750, just half the numbers. So now you can take that down to 750. Now you got 3 location spots on your neck at the correct heights. Now all you have to do is blend this into this one. So you get this height blended into that, this height blended into that. You can use a straight edge to make sure that you've got everything straight. Once you've got it nice and straight, you have your height set. So that's angle number 1. Angle number 2 is about a 45-degree angle off the side of this. I'm going to show you here on a Martin factory reject that it's about a 45-degree angle, almost exactly coming off of here. So you've got angle number 1, take a 45-degree angle there, that's angle number 2. Now, what you've got, now here's where that other point comes into play. I always leave a no-fly zone of about 1/4 of an inch or a little less, maybe 3/16, and I draw a pencil line on there just like that so I don't sand down or carve down into that. So you take your 45-degree angle, and once it gets down to that line, you stop. All right? Now, you've got 1 angle here, 2 angles here. Now, all you're going to do is take about half of that. You're not going to be quite 90. You're not going to be quite 45. You're going to be halfway in between, and you're going to take that off. Now, all of a sudden, once you've got that down, and of course, you've done the other side as well, now you've got a neck that actually starting to feel like a neck. It's not all that far from being done. That's what I call rough carved at that point. From that point, I don't do any more until I actually have the fretboard on, at least up here in the barrel, because I want to have the fretboard on so I can blend it into my neck and then finish my carving, and I judge how it feels by my hand. A lot of people use templates and place them in different places to make sure they get the right curvature and things like that. I prefer to go more by feel. You got in a hurry, you forgot to put your truss rod slot in, and you've already tapered your neck. This is an easy thing to fix. You go to your scrap pile of wood, you find a nice straight piece, make sure it has a good straight edge on there. Get some double-sided tape, you're going to run that down here, and you're going to find the exact center of this board and make marks on there. Find the exact center of this end, find the exact center of this end, get it lined up on the marks, stick it down to the tape. Now you've got a nice straight edge that you can use on your fence and cut your truss rod slot. It's easy as that. All right, that's just a couple of quick tips to help you get started on your neck carving. Make sure you make a practice blank. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there watching that haven't subscribed yet. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notified anytime I put up a new video. And I'll see you next time.